Good morning, everyone. It's Paula, the Innkeeper from the Way In. Thank you so much for joining me today. And for those of you who are new, the Way In, we have it broadcast live on Facebook and YouTube. So we're going to wait for folks to pop in from our Facebook community, give you a couple of seconds to get in the room and settled. And then we are going to talk to Tina. And Tina is back from last weekend. She was a tremendous help to all of us last weekend. We got lots of information about the mold in our systems and about certain foods and the various things that she was doing to lose the weight and continually lose the weight. So we're going to continue with that conversation today. We do have a hard stop at 11:30. And for those of you who are struggling by losing that hour, take a nap after this. I know Tina and I likely are. And so let us know who's out there this morning. Again, this is Paula, your Innkeeper from the Way In. Thank you so much for joining us today. All right, let's get started. So, Tina, thank you for coming back.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
And we appreciate having you. I want to give a shout out to my cousin, Lori. I'm not sure if she's on yet, but Lori, I want you to know I'm drinking up. I am drinking up. So, all right, the room is starting to fill up. So let's get to the questions here. So Tina, last week we talked about what it is that the pain that got you to move towards the recovery, to the solution. You're using an integrative, medical professional. You are using Noom, and you are also using Whole30. So what we want to talk today is about all the key things that you're actually doing to keep this up, because I think that's the key, right? It's keeping the weight off and then continually losing. So what do you want everybody to take away from today's session?
I would like, I talk, obviously we all do this, right? We talk with our friends and our family that are struggling as well. And I would like the audience to take away some of the things that I hear from my family and friends that bother them, that I have found my solution for. Not saying that what works for me will work for everybody, but there are ideas just to get in. Again, maybe you don't do it, but maybe it inspires you to find a way for your own solution.
Excellent. So let's talk about, let's start with the great myth. So we talked about this last week. So what is it that you believe today that you know now is a bunch of BS from yesterday?
Well, I guess the way I think of it is, it's just how did my thinking change, right? So maybe it's what I realized in hindsight is that I had a lot of BS thinking that I didn't realize was BS thinking. I'm 51. Oh, Lord, I'm old. Years.
Hey, I'm older than you, so let's not go there.
Well, then you're really old. So there's a lot of things that I like to think of myself as a reformed Southerner now, right? So there was things when I was growing up, you cleaned your plate. They're leaving 3 bites of food behind. It just kills me. The sizes, the portion, what I consider to be a portion, and those types of things have been sort of shocking to me now that I'm taking the time to educate myself. I think that's kind of all those things that I grew up with, believing. Those are still shocking to me. Does that kind of answer the?
Yeah. So let's talk about that. So if we were to start, before we get into the details of that, let's talk about the fact that this isn't your first go round with trying to lose weight.
No.
So let's start with what's making this time different. And then we'll get into some of the tools that you use to stay on track and keep you motivated to stay on track. So what about this time is different?
So this time, what is different is that I am committed to learning why. Every time I've done it before, and again, name the tool, right? Weight Watchers, Adkins, something. They gave me a list of things and I had to play in that square and just follow there. And I spent the first week going like a gangbuster, and then the rest of the time figuring out the loopholes, the workarounds, negotiating with myself on why, well, this is okay. And then, which rapidly turned into beating myself up as a failure, because I wasn't sticking to the program, because I was doing what I want, because I didn't go in it to learn how to be better. I just went in it to do what they said, to lose the weight without being, I just wasn't all, I wasn't all in. I think it's the difference.
So the pain that you experienced to say this time has to be different was the fact that you couldn't breathe. Is that right?
Well, I couldn't. So, I was seeing so many different doctors for a plethora of challenges. The main thing for me was watching. So again, 51. So now I'm starting to see my previous generation, my parents, aunts and uncles, those guys, they're starting to spend all their time at the doctor's office. And I can either spend all my time getting healthy now. Anyone who's listening to this that is under 40, dear Lord, please do what you got to do now, because it just gets worse. It gets harder to lose. It involves more doctors. It involves more things. And I don't want to, if I have to spend the time now, so that my whole 40s, I kept saying, okay, I am not going to be like this when I hit 50. I will not. And then I hit 50 and I was, and that was just heartbreaking. And I was just, I've got to do something so I don't do the same thing at 60. I just want to enjoy retirement. And at this rate, I will not. At this rate, I might lose my feet due to diabetes, right? That to me was the big motivator.
Yeah, I get that. And as I get closer, I'm much closer to 60 today than I was, 10 years ago. I do want to welcome Jamie and Lisa and Angela and all of those who just joined today. We've got Tina back on again. So Tina, let's talk about some of the things that, last week I maintained, which was really good, but it's not motivating for me, right? So it's my next step is, if all you're going to do is maintain at 230 some pounds, 232.1, I got to get below this 230. I just have to, right? What?
Why is that number? Here's what
because it's progress. For me, it's just about getting out of the tens, right?
So numbers matter to me, and now they don't. Let me tell you this. For the past 3 weeks, I've been doing the uppy downy, as I call it. Like, your scale has been going up 3 ounces, down 4 ounces, up 5 ounces, down 6 ounces. But right there for 3 weeks. Meanwhile, the clothes that didn't fit 3 weeks ago are now loose, or now fit, and the clothes that fit 3 weeks ago are now loose. I can now stretch my legs a little. Like, my flexibility was terrible, right? But I can now go a half inch further. I can now walk a little. I've changed what is my progress, because the scale is the most frustrating thing on the planet. I do get on it because I've got to be very mindful, but the number doesn't matter nearly as much as all the other achievements. So I have a running list of look at woohoo me. Because you've got to find ways to pat yourself on the back, or all you do is beat yourself up, and that's self-defeating.
Got it.
In my opinion.
So keeping the food interesting. We talked about that before we hopped on this call. What are you doing to keep the food interesting?
So, like I said, I turned kitchen into a sport.
I love that saying.
I do not like to spend a lot of time in the kitchen. It's boring. I don't have that kind of patience or time, but I really want to eat delicious. So I have found ways to, because I'll tell you this, 100 calories is 100 calories. 100 calories of delicious X is better than 100 calories of, okay, I'm not going to waste my time on just okay food. You're not going to go back and eat it again. So I found little shortcuts and things that I use. I stock up. My freezer is full of steam fresh veggies, because I can grab one of those and toss. So now I've got a whole bag of veggies. Nice. And then find ways just to do, I'll make a frittata on Sunday. When we hang up, I've got to go into the kitchen and I'm going to mass prepare. And it takes me less than 5 minutes to put together a tray of French toast casserole, which is it's delicious, sugar-free, and I can eat that all week. And then I'll do a frittata. Again, veggies, all good for you. And I use spices. So I do a lot of things. Oh, I brought props.
You were talking to me about these spices, and I think that this is interesting, because I don't know about you. My cousin and I were talking about this last week, and I'll tell you, if I don't spice up the chicken, there's just no more chicken. So talk to me about these spices that you were referring to.
Well, the spice. So when you go to a restaurant, when you drive by and you smell, you're like, oh, I'm eating whatever that smell is. And you just sort of, your car steers you that way. That taste drives me. But I don't know what I'm doing in the kitchen. I know what I like to eat, obviously. But cooking it, different thing altogether. So I go to, on the web, I found a couple of spice stores, and they'll tell you, right? So this one, told you I brought.
Hold that up a little bit closer to the camera so everybody can see. And what's it called?
This one is called, it's Urban Accents Mesa Rosa Chipotle, which is delicious. This one's also from Urban Accents, which is really good. But you can also, like the Savory Spice Company, there's a bunch of them out there, but you read the label. So you've got to, so you can see exactly what's in them. So you just get the one without sugar, the one without salt. And just spice. And if a little bit is what you put up, put a lot more on.
If a little bit is good, a lot is better. Is that it?
I have discovered that I can eat vegetables without butter. I didn't think that was possible. I was pretty sure it was a violation of the Geneva Convention or something terrible. But, I take some of these and put it on my veggies, or the spicy chili lime. Oh, it's so good. The other thing I do is I get the olive oil that already has flavors in it. So you take lemon or lime flavored olive oil, put a little of that on your fish and cook it. It already has that lemony flavor. It's so good.
Okay, I'm putting this on.
Uh-oh. Oh no, we lost Paula. Uh-oh. I don't know if I should keep going. She's going to come back any second. I just know it.
So instead of hitting, press the message, I just left the studio. So so we've got olive oil with lemon and lime. That's good. So for those of you who are just joining, I want to let you know that this is Tina Scogin, and she has already lost 60 some pounds on her journey. She has not finished her journey yet. She's got another, what did you say, 80 to go? 80 to
go? I'm assuming, so based on what they say is average and normal for my height and age, I will stop when my body stops. I'm not going for a particular number.
Good for you.
I can hike and, do cartwheels. Well, maybe not cartwheels, but my body will stop when it wants to, but I'm assuming it's going to be at least another 80 pounds.
Okay. She's picking up where she left off last week, because we want to talk about what's happening in the kitchen, and we want to talk about how the positive side of what she is doing is impacting her life. So cartwheels is not your goal, clearly. Number on the scale is not your goal. What is your goal?
My goal is to not spend my life at the doctor's office. I want to come off my pill. Now I'll always be on vitamins. I'll always be on those types of things, but I don't want to, so I just recently, when I started I went and got my blood work done just before then, and I got it done 3 months later, right? Well, my doctor had freaked out about this time last year because my A1C was at 9, which is bad. Yeah, she was on vacation when she got the report back, and she called me and said, she was at a conference. She's like, yeah, we're putting you on the Ozempic. You're desperate. That's $550 a month. And so I was very motivated to get off of that. I was on Noom for 3 months and committed and eating all my veggies and doing good. And I got my A1C to 5.7.
That's where I'm at.
She took me off the Ozempic. She reduced my dose on everything else. If I keep this up, I'll be off my pills. I won't be pre-diabetic. I'm pre-diabetic technically, and I will be off those meds. That's money in my savings account that I can use to travel when I'm old. That's motivating. Just being able to, I have so many intentions of shenanigans when I'm old and, older. And I won't be able to do that because I'm going to have to make sure I'm back by 2 for my doctor's appointment. I just don't.
It's so true. I noticed that are planning my timer on my mother's doctor's appointments, but she's 91 years old. God bless Mary.
That's fair. 91 doctor's appointments, fine, but not 63. That's no.
Yeah. So Lee has a question. I'm not much of a veggie eater. What do you suggest as a substitution for veggie? What do you think about that? Is there a substitution for veggies?
Well, no, I am not a medical professional. I'm only going to tell you what my opinion is. Please note. I was not much of a veggie eater. I really wasn't. I'm not a fan. Well, let me rephrase that. I mean, potatoes are a vegetable. It's a root vegetable, but I don't think the French fries and the mashed potatoes, the way I was fixing them, count as a veggie. So I'm a big French fry eater. I like picking with my hands. So I went, and I'll give you just one example, Lee, of what you could do is I create. So now I use other vegetables in place of potatoes as French fries. It's a mental thing in my head, right? A French fry is just a little skinny piece of something that you're popping in your mouth. So now I use asparagus, green beans, sweet potatoes. I use other things. So I'll also take broccoli and I'll cut it up into smaller pieces. And now I'm using it as popcorn because it's smaller pieces. I just bake it in the oven with some of my delicious spices, depending on what I'm feeling. And now I find myself, I also switched over, not because I'm vegan, but just because I wanted more vegetables, or I switched over to plant-based burgers. I've really enjoyed them. So I'll have meals that feel like I'm eating a cheeseburger with French fries, but it's all plant.
Now that's got soy in it, right? Is that
it's pea flour?
Pea flour?
Mm-hmm.
PEA flour?
Yeah, like the vegetable pea.
Who knew that this is all new to me. I didn't know pea could be a flour.
Well, see, this is where treating your kitchen like
FLOU.
Yeah, FLOUR. So that's why I love trying to find substitutions for things. I love gravy. Give me some gravy. I love cookies. Give me some cookies. So trying to find ways that I can make a healthy version of that is what I mean by turning the kitchen into a sport. How can I compete against myself? How can I cook in under 10 minutes and love it? How can I do these things?
I'm wondering, Lee, do you have a favorite vegetable though? Is it French fries, Lee? I'd be very curious to see what she says about this. So I think that's a real challenge. If you don't like veggies, is there a substitute for that?
But here's what I would say. Is it all vegetables, or is it I don't like salad? I'm not a salad eater, not a big fan. Honestly, all it is lettuce supporting the cup of dressing I actually wanted to eat. It's not, I don't enjoy salad. I don't like cold veggies. I prefer the hot, warm veggies. I don't like slimy vegetables. I don't care what anyone says, okra slimy. I don't like Brussels sprouts, taste like hot lettuce to me. But that's me, right? You have to figure out what you are actually trying to achieve. And then you can find ways to, in my opinion, if you look for it. I don't know how you would substitute vegetables. Vegetables have all these, and here's the other thing to remember about vegetables. 100 calories of broccoli is about 2-3 cups. 100 calories of chocolate is 2 pieces.
That's insane.
So you're more full. Now, the chocolate was delicious, but I'm going to be hungry again in 15 seconds because that vegetable is less calorie dense. So you get more of it than you do of the more calorie dense foods, which is why 1 tablespoon of butter is 100 calories. So, remember, like I can have this bowl of broccoli, which means I won't be hungry again for 6 hours, or I can have this little pat of butter and, while delicious, not satisfying.
So there's something else that you and I talked about while we were in the green room, and you held up 2 plates.
I did. Show and tell. So
this was a big aha for me, and it's interestingly enough, I bought new dishes and I got the smaller. I bought the smaller dishes.
Yeah, here's what I learned on Noom, which there's a couple things on Noom I've just been shocked to learn. But one of the things they recommend is get pretty plates. It'll make the experience enjoyable, right? So you're like, oh, look at my pretty pleasant presentation. Because when you like what you see, it helps you enjoy what you eat. But here's what they also said. When I was born 50 years ago, the average plate size was 8 inches. And now it's 13. So, if you hold up and look and oopsies, am I doing it right?
Yep.
You can see how much more food you're eating if you were taught to clean your plate like the rest of us. So I don't know how many extra calories that is, but I'm eating that many more inches of food. It's a lot. It adds up.
So you get 8-inch plates instead of the 13.
Yeah. Because here's the other thing is my brain, I've just been shocked that my brain tells me that a serving of something, there's no way it's going to fill me up. It's just not going to do it. And I'm always full. I make my plate and it's like, how am I full from that and not needing seconds? Going back to the kitchen for more, I just don't. And I've stopped buying as many groceries. So my food bill's gone down because I'm not buying as much because I was buying to fill what my brain said I needed, not what was reality. So spending the other thing that I've been learning, and this has been super helpful, of taking the time to actually feel hungry and actually feel full. I didn't know what that felt like. Yesterday, I noticed I was really thirsty and my brain said, you should go get some pudding. I don't know why. I needed something in my mouth that was liquid, but my brain said, you need food. I mean, that's my reality. But so just learning what actually feels like. Don't eat until there are days where I eat right on schedule because I have to, because things are going on. But there are other days where I wait until I'm hungry before I will go and fix lunch. There are days where I don't eat breakfast until 8:30 and I'm not hungry for lunch until 2 p.m. So that's kind of interesting, right?
And so it's very interesting, Tina, because Joni Berman, and I think I mentioned her on last week's call too, she said the same thing, but she followed almost identical the path that you followed, starting with an integrative physician to learn what foods worked and didn't work with her body. And she said the same thing, that diets and even food plans tell you to eat 3 times a day, certain times of the day,
meals or blah blah blah,
or 6 minutes, right? And she's like, no more. She goes, I'm going to listen to my body, and I'm not going to listen to my mind. Well, that to me was game changing.
Yeah, they call it, and Noom calls it your elephant. My elephant is just he's an a-hole. I'm just not going to lie. It's just an a-hole in my head that just wants cookies all the time. But so here's the thing. I went to when I first started doing this and I was starting to get my eyes opened, I went to the grocery store and spent 3 hours in there one day. Instead of, I went and picked up every box. I read every label and I was shocked. Do you ever buy those? You ever see those sausages, like those kielbasa sausages?
Oh, yeah.
And you can either eat half of one or one, but that's usually what you eat. That's 6 servings in that package. 6. It's 150 calories per serving in that. So I was picking up and looking at everything and comparing things. And here's what I've discovered. You know how they make the little mini Ben & Jerry cups? Not the quart, but that's satisfying. So if I get the whole container, I'm going to eat the whole container. I get the little minis. It's both adorable and delicious. And then I've got 100 calories. That's okay. I keep, it's all about your mindset. I've become very mindful. I'd rather just have meat.
So let's I'm going to read this from Lee. It says, I like vegetables, but I'd rather have just meat. Oh my God, I am the same way. Just meat isn't going to fill me and keep me on a diet. I've also been trying to watch carbs, so potatoes or corn isn't my desire, but I'd rather not have broccoli, spinach, or salad all the time. I'll buy coleslaw for a side dish, but overall I don't eat many veggies. I need something else to maintain my weight loss journey. How about water? I mean, how about drinking hot things I don't know.
I mean, I still don't think it replaces the nutritional value that comes from a vegetable. And here's the other thing. You know what I do? I go to the grocery store and I look for something I try every couple of weeks to purposely target a vegetable I haven't eaten before. Oh, I have no idea what this is. That's how I found chayote, which turns out to be a fabulous potato substitute. It's a squash, looks like a pear, and it's delicious. And you can cut it up into French fry shape. See, I told you, I can turn anything into a French fry. Also carrots. Carrot sticks are fantastic as a French fry.
So wait a minute. How do you even spell chai what?
Chayote.
I'm at a loss.
There it is. I think that's it.
Okay. All right. Well, believe it or not, we are at 11:30.
I'm sorry we didn't help, Lee. I feel bad about the whole I hate veggies thing. Good luck.
Well, I don't know what, I mean, that's a really tough one. So I think that, it's just going to be a matter of experimenting, Lee, and going in and trying different vegetables and cutting them up and seeing what, works for you and what doesn't.
Hide them in things, or get like chickpea pasta. Look for vegetables in other things.
Chickpea pasta. There's such a thing.
Red bean pasta. They make veggie pasta. So if you're trying to stay away from carbs and gluten and other things, veggie soup is a fantastic choice. I make soup at the yazoo. Let me just tell you, French onion soup, you can have a vat of it for like 100 calories. Well, my version. And then you gotta experiment. You can't do things. You got to find ways to make it healthy. But just turn it into a sport. You guys have to try.
Just try anything. Mm-hmm. There's also, I just bought a couple of Whole30 cookbooks. Mm-hmm. And so because they're all vegetable and all, from the earth, there's all kinds of ways that you can cook these vegetables without the sugar in them and without them being,
Well, there's meat in there too. They just, the Whole30, but you know what? It's inspirational. You don't have to do it exactly like they say. Use it as inspiration.
Okay. Tina, thank you again. And no, really, this has been tremendously helpful. It's a great way to make sure that we are going to stay on track today. Whatever plan you follow is your plan, and it's not wrong. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Lee. Thank you for everybody who's joined us today. Have a great day, and thanks all for loving Mary's Day. She is such a treat to have in our world, isn't she? So I appreciate all the love and the support. You guys have a great afternoon. Take care. Bye.
Bye.